Welcome to Legal 123s with ByrdAdatto. Legal issues simplified through real client stories and real-world experiences. Creating simplicity in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Season 12 preview of the Legal 123s with ByrdAdatto. I'm your host, ByrdAdatto, with my co-host, Michael Byrd.
Thanks, Brad. We have just finished Season 11, Brad. Let's at least reflect for a minute. It was a fun season full of hard conversations.
Yes, Michael. We had hard conversations as that was the theme of the season, so I'm glad you're able to bring that back in. But we had a ton of fun, including our first live podcast from Las Vegas.
That was really incredible, and there was first massive hat tip to Riley and our team because there were so many things that could have gone wrong.
Yes,
on that actually making it to being an actual live recording, but or live onto our podcast system. But the audio was great, and the experience and the energy was incredible.
Very cool, yeah.
Well, that was the one show, Brad, that we didn't have a hard conversation, except for maybe the hard conversation I had to have with you to keep you from getting out of control with all your, quote, fans, at least in your mind, cheering you on. That's
a fair point, Michael, except for the Vegas show, which was a lot of fun. Could you summarize in your mind Season 11, the hard conversations? What should our audience members have? What some takeaways should they have had from that Season 11?
Well, if you think about every show had a hard conversation or not, like they should have, but they didn't. And so if you kind of just, condense it down to what was the most effective way to deal with these inevitable moments that we all have where we have to be a little uncomfortable and deal with a hard conversation, it's number one, showing up.
Yeah.
The ones that had it had a much better chance of it working out than the ones that did not have their hard conversation. And then the second is being strategic and thoughtful about what are you going to say and how are you going to say it when you have the hard conversation. I think of the stories where they were really thoughtful and intentional as they went through that process, and it worked out the way it was supposed to work out. Now, sometimes they got the answers they didn't want, but they got them at the time instead of later when it would have really been bad.
So strategic, not dropping every alphabetical curse word at the person.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Brad.
That's good.
What about you?
I would say this was a great season in so many different ways. But as we learn through these different stories from my perspective, your perspective, even the guests that we had come in, the hard conversations that people have is the ones that result in the best outcome. Again, going to your point, is because they leaned into it and realized they had I think we said big boy pants or big boy boots, or we had lots of different versions, but leaning into it made a big difference.
Awesome. Well, talk to me about, your favorite kids from Season 11. I mean, your favorite shows from Season 11.
So I think we're going to skip the favorite show talk this time around because you and I may have different ideas of what our favorite shows are, but, the audience has spoken this time, and, audience members, based on your listens, this year, the number one show for Hard Conversations was the IV Bar, Choosing Compliance. The number 2 show was Hard Conversations, Partner Compensation, and the number 3 show was Hard Conversations, Selling Your Practice to Your Associates.
Yeah, Brad, and probably the episode that may end up for sure breaking into the top 3 is the very last episode, or the second last episode we did with our clients, Sarah Allen and Claire O'Brien. They navigating the gray spectrum. That was done late in the season and has had a lot of listens to this date.
Well, because also they were the only clients that were willing to come and share their story about their hard conversations. So hat tip to them for that.
Yeah, it was very real. It was better than a rodeo clown.
That's true. Well, Michael, let's move on to the next season. We're launching our newest season. What do we have in store for our audience for next season?
This season's exciting, Brad. This season, we get to focus on the high-stakes implications of selling a business. This season's theme is The Hitchhiker's Guide to M&A. We will be guest-heavy this season, Brad, and we're going to bring in different professionals to offer their experiences and perspectives on M&A.
Yes, and we have an amazing lineup for The Hitchhiker's Guide to M&A, including launching our second live show, during a happy hour, so we'll see how that goes. And that season 12 opener is Teams and Toddies with Robin Pugh.
Amazing. And probably, my context brain's going crazy right now. We managed to talk without inserting probably our main vocabulary word of the season, M&A, which stands for mergers and acquisitions. And essentially, that's a company that's buying or selling its business or its assets. And that's where we're going to really focus this year. And we're going to unpack all the aspects of M&A from a bunch of different perspectives. We'll have some new guests like Dr. Rachel Walker and CPA Mike White. And we'll have some more returning guests, Brad. We have Dr. Paco Canales and Dr. Heather Furness returning, Ben Hernandez, and our partner, Alex Tiersch.
Yes, and for audience members, besides our guests, we will have some stories of our clients that we will share. And series regular, Jay Riero, will also be joining us.
Brad, we continue to be amazed and grateful to have all of our loyal listeners who continue to join us each week. They reach out to us and tell us they listen to the podcast on the Legal 1-2-3s with ByrdAdatto. And they share our content with others and just really grateful.
Yes. So we look forward to catching up with you guys on Season 12 Opener, The Hitchhiker's Guide to M&A, next week. Until then, enjoy the rest of the week.
ByrdAdatto is providing this podcast as a public service. This podcast is for educational purposes only. This podcast does not constitute legal advice, nor does it establish an attorney-client relationship. Reference to any specific product or entity does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by ByrdAdatto. The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent. Please consult with an attorney on your legal issues.